At guard from Lake Charles, Louisiana, number 71, Nate Livings. At center from Hemp Hill, Texas, number 55, Ben Wilkerson. At guard from Waveland, Mississippi, number 72, Stephen Peterman. At tackle from West Monroe, Louisiana, number 60, Rodney Reed. At tight end from Monroe, Louisiana, number 47, Eric Edwards. At wide receiver from West Wego, Louisiana, number 5, Skylar Green. At wide receiver from Opelousas, Louisiana, number 9, Devery Henderson. At wide receiver from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, number 14, Michael Clayton. At running back from Lake Charles, Louisiana, number 25, Justin Vincent. At quarterback from Jasper, Indiana, number 18, Matt Mount. Head coach Nick Saban and the number 2 BCS ranked LSU Tigers. Let's go to Lynn Swan with Coach Saban.
Coach Saban, this is the first time as the head coach of the LSU Tigers that you're coaching in a national championship game. You probably know guys who have been in your shoes before. What's the advice they gave you about this game?
Well, I think that the most important thing for us is that we play with our identity as a football team, with the character and attitude that we played with all year. It's difficult in a situation like this, but we got a good football team, and that's how we want to play.
Good luck to you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Britt?
Oklahoma, number 60, Wes Sims. At guard from Beaumont, Texas, number 70, Kelvin Shishon. At center from Waco, Texas, number 50, Vince Carter. At guard from Hallandale, Florida, number 77, Davin Joseph. At tackle from Lawton, Oklahoma, number 55, Jamal Brown. At tight end from Weatherford, Oklahoma, number 86, Lance Donley. At wide receiver from Arlington, Texas, number 9, Mark Clayton. At wide receiver from Humble, Texas, number 29, Will Peoples. At wide receiver from Texarkana, Texas, number 81, Brandon Jones. At H-back from Midwest City, Oklahoma, number 38, J.D. Runnels. And running back from Tulsa, Oklahoma, number 47, Ronaldo Works. At quarterback from Tuttle, Oklahoma, number 18, Jason White. Head coach Bob Stoops and the number 1 BCS ranked Oklahoma Sooners. go to Jackaroo.
Well, Coach, this is the first bowl game as a head coach that you had to coach the secondary to prepare as well. How busy was that?
It's a little bit busy, but, Jack, that's all right. We're excited to come play now. Let's go.
Good luck, Coach.
All right, thanks.
And he is 3-1. Matching wits with one of the best, Nick Saban, in his 4th year at LSU. He's out of Fairmont, West Virginia, and he's one of the hottest names you hear with regard to perhaps moving on to the NFL. We'll develop that story as the evening proceeds. Now, Oklahoma won the coin toss, as you saw, and that means LSU will go on the attack for Trey DiCarlo. Put the ball on this new artificial surface. Skylar Green with all that speed and more speed. Devery Henderson into the end zone. Thought about it, takes a knee, and it'll come out on the 20-yard line. So here is Matt Mock, #1 in the SEC in pass efficiency rating. And what an interesting story. 24 years old. You see his football numbers there. But folks, this young man was in the Chicago Cubs organization for 3 years before deciding to come back to college. He has passed his exams to go to dental school. He has a choice to make. There will be 3 factors. Does he come back and play next year for Nick Saban? Does he take a shot at the NFL, or does he just move on to dental school? We'll develop that story. First down play. Vincent, the freshman, breaks free in the secondary. Foot race. He can go the distance. Straight trips him up. At the 19-yard line, Derek Strait trips up freshman sensation Justin Vincent, who has reeled off 3 straight 100-yard games for the Tigers and just electrified this crowd.
Oklahoma comes out and blitzes on the first play. Safety blitz. When you get through the first level of linebackers, you have no safety help. Oklahoma, remember, Brent Venables is calling the new defenses. Takes their safety out of the middle and attacks, and they get burned.
After the long run, Joseph Adai checks in. So a 64-yard run to start the game. Adai behind the H-back tries to get to the corner, jumps over one defender, and is out of bounds at the 15-yard line. Now the Nokia starting lineup for this OU defense, stunned on the first play from scrimmage. That front, one of the best, featuring Tommy Harris. Teddy Lehman, the all-world linebacker, outrun when Vincent broke into the free. And there on the right is senior Derek Strait, #2, who just tripped up Vincent as he was headed for the end zone. Lehman now on the Sooners trying to regroup.
Oklahoma's in with their nickel, 5 DBs.
First pass to Clayton, and he's just shy of the 10-yard line. Derek Strait, #2. Strait, of course, won the Thorpe Award as the top defensive back in college football, but he was also voted the winner of the Nagurski as the best overall defensive player in the nation. And he showed you a bit of his stuff with that tackle of Eddie Vincent, who was headed for the end zone that time. Here comes 3rd down. And Shelby checks into that defensive package.
Yeah,
Brandon Shelby, an extra defensive back here.
That's 6 of them on this field right now against 4 wide receivers for LSU.
Mock back in the shotgun. Low snap, picks it up, fires, complete. Clayton's got it inside the 5 and battles his way inside the 3. That is a 1st and goal, but hold on. There is a penalty flag thrown back the 21-yard line.
An unbelievable catch by Matt Mock. His baseball skills came through, as you see, roughing the passer after he let it go. This was like a knuckleball. He makes the stop, and he throws the guy out at second base. That's where those athletic skills come through. What a play. Catch it, grab it, refocus, and he gets hit with the elbow right in the face. That's a wonderful call. What a play by Matt Mock.
And he put the ball in the hands of one of the strongest wide receivers in the SEC, Michael Clayton, who just battled his way to the 2-yard line where it'll be 1st and goal. And the jumbo set will now come in as Clayton goes to the sideline.
I really think Oklahoma's corners lost their focus when they saw the ball drop on the ground.
Justin Vincent in behind 2 lead blockers. Mock goes down again, bobbled the snap from Wilkerson.
I don't know if he got this one.
And it's turned over. inside the 5-yard line. Oklahoma has the football. Derek Strait recovered it. First, he saves the touchdown with the tackle. Then he recovers this fumble.
Bad center exchange. A quarterback in goal line offense must be very careful with the center. The center reach blocks, and a lot of times their butt turns a lot and you don't get the snap.
We'll take a break. Oklahoma has the ball inside the 5. Timeout. His 872nd snap of the season, only 8 of them bad. After it occurred, both coach and quarterback went over to pick him up with encouragement. There were no harsh words exchanged after the bad center quarterback exchange. Gary, you had a reason for why it happened.
Yes, it was a reach block by the center, and that is really on the quarterback. He must really stay with the center and ride, especially in goal line, especially on first down. You just can't have that happen on first down. Our
first look at Jason White since he picked up the Heisman Trophy in New York. The toss play to Jones, who tries to get the corner against this fast defense, and Jack Hunt, the senior, comes up on him. So many of you know the story of Jason White. You read about him, you saw him, his very gracious acceptance speech, only the 4th Sooner to win the Heisman. He is a senior, but he can come back next year. He was granted an extra year of eligibility, and everyone around Soonerland expects that he will be back. Now, after Kewan Jones started the game, Ronaldo Works checks in. Jones was a situation starter simply because they were backed up and they wanted to see if he could get the corner like he did against Kansas State. He did not. Second down, and from the end zone, White moving the pocket. Now comes far to double coverage, thrown, juggled, intercepted by Webster. Webster at the 40-yard line. Corey Webster still going down to the 31-yard line. One of the best defensive backs in college football. Picks it off, and now it is a turnover apiece. And as Gary Danielson predicted, this will be a fierce defensive war all the way.
Bump and run coverage. Oklahoma goes after the bump and one with the double cut. Watches out and up. But the great technique by Webster, and then this ball is just thrown for anybody to get it. Remember, Corey Webster, number 13, the All-American defensive back, was recruited as a wide receiver and actually played 1 whole year here at wide receiver. He's very comfortable with the football in the air.
He is a tall corner. Both of Nick Saban's corners are tall, and Bob Stoops and his staff have had to adjust. And breaking offside is Oklahoma, I believe, on this play.
Fumble the ball.
There's a fumble, however, and it goes to Oklahoma. If they weren't offside, the linesman threw the flag. It was recovered by Dante Nicholson. There was no question, I thought, from up here that they were offside.
Cody right here. Yep, clearly. Came right across. Whitworth had no chance to block Cody, but then another fumble, ball on the ground. You can feel the bigness of this football game. Mistakes, self-inflicted wounds already. Jason White shouldn't have thrown the ball up. The double cut wasn't there. Should have thrown it away on second down. The fumbled snap, and now another one right here.
David Jones checks in with the play. Now Matt Knock has got the formation from the sideline. 1st and 5 after the offside penalty on Dan Cody. Vincent on a play fake. Knox stands at the 35. He was an excellent runner a couple years ago. On the move, throws in zone, incomplete. And he too fired into coverage down there, looking for Clayton. And Greenwood Henderson was behind him. So the Oklahoma Sooners and the LSU Tigers in the Nokia Sugar Bowl, playing for the BCS National Championship tonight in New Orleans, Louisiana. And we figured it would be defense, and so far this game has featured a turnover apiece. But again, LSU with superb field position. And Vincent already with a 64-yard bolt for the offense. He's standing back at the 35-yard line on this 2nd down and 5 after the incompletion. Let's see if they come back with the freshman. They do. tries to cut to the left, breaks the first tackle and crosses the 25-yard line. Everidge could not wrap him up, but Teddy Lehman does as we check in down below with Jackaroo.
Well, Brent, when Nick Saban first got to LSU, Corey Webster wasn't even in the potential recruiting class. In fact, it was Nick who gathered the coaches, the new staff together, and said, I want to see all of the available players. I want a new list. When he got that list together, there's where Corey Webster's name appeared. It's a good thing that he asked for a recall.
All right, Jack, and Skylar Green has just checked in from LSU. He's out to the right. It's the 3-pack. It's Clayton, it's Henderson, it's Green for Mount. And he'll call a timeout after looking at that defense. The linebackers had dropped way back into a, looked like a zone, and Mount called timeout. Corey Webster, 14 career interceptions. He too will have a choice to make as to whether or not he decides to leave Baton Rouge early and go to the NFL or stick around for another season. Green in motion's got great speed, looking for the corner, got the first down, got it turned. Here he comes, the track man zips to the end zone for the game's first touchdown. 24 yards for Skylar Green.
Run the sweep. Watch this block by Joseph Adai right here, right on the outside. He gets the outside hip, outside leg. Michael Clayton downfield blocking, the All-American wide receiver. He gets his block and they sprint into the end zone. Big plays.
Ryan Godet will kick tonight. He makes the extra point. It's 7-0. Skylar Green's 25-yard touchdown puts LSU ahead in this BCS championship game. There are 6 freshmen on this kickoff team, including Chris Jackson, who was a quarterback right here at New Orleans High School. He is the long leg, doesn't get it up quite as quickly as Ryan Godet does. So before the game, Nick Saban had both of them kicking. He's concerned because they had trouble in the SEC championship game. So Godet takes over tonight. High, deep, and on into the end zone. Oklahoma will take a knee. Well, ABC Tuesday, what's up with Rory? It's a coming-of-age episode you can't miss. An all-new 8 Simple Rules, 8/7 Central, ABC Tuesday. Gary, let me ask you this. Could Oklahoma be shell-shocked by this early start? And again, they're giving up the big play like they did against K-State.
We've done them for 2 straight years. I've never seen them all year before Kansas State. The longest play they gave up was 42 yards. Now multiple big plays. That means players are trying to do too much. They're getting outside the defense.
Jones is the running back, off to the quarterback's right. With 3 wideouts, Jason White goes down the sideline. Clayton juggles incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 10. And how quickly the safeties are reacting for LSU to double up on that side as we take a look now at the Nokia defensive lineup for LSU. Spears, Lavallee gets all the pub, but Marquise Hill, he played a little football too. And the linebackers, Eric Alexander wants a safety. Moves in there to give him great speed at that will linebacker spot. Randall Gay, a senior, he's the nickel back. LaRon Landry, the leading tackler with this team. You've already met Mr. Corey Webster, who has an interception here tonight. 2nd down and 10 for Jason White, who seems to be flinging the ball in the air. He puts this one into Jones's hands. Jones battles his way to the 25-yard line. Gary, I'm not sure I recognize the throwing motion that the quarterback, Jason White, is using. He seems to be arching the ball more than we saw.
Well, he has thrown against bump and run 2 fade passes. This is a little slip screen. Can't really measure much on this one, but he has taken a pounding in the last 2 games. He hurt his wrist, remember, against Kansas State. And, you know, we still wonder if that's 100%, but when you face bump and run, you have to throw the fades, and he's been lobbing a few of them so far.
Saban's 2 corners are right up there in a familiar coverage, just 3 yards off. Lavallee was battling his way in, and there's interference on this play. Webster had jumped Jones coming across, and that flag was thrown because of Corey Webster's aggressive defense. Now, Gary, give us a read as a former quarterback what you look for now in a bump and run situation like this when you know you've got press coverage.
Early in the football game, you've got to be careful not to fall into the trap of throwing too many fades. They want you to throw fades. It's a low priority, low percentage completion. You must establish that slant pass, and I think Chuck Long did the right thing of saying, we must show you that we'll try to get that ball inside on.
Jack, let's follow up on that hand story. Could there still be a problem with the quarterback?
Well, Brent, they say, and Jason insists that it is not, but when he came home from the Heisman Trophy week in New York City, I went to shake his hand when I was in Norman, and he winced in pain. When I got here, likewise. I don't know, Gary, but it could be affecting his throw. It's still a little tender.
Runnels lines up in front of Works. He's a lead blocker, and he's a dandy. Works cuts back in that defensive front for the Tigers. Now, Gary, I want to take everybody back to Arrowhead Stadium that night on December 6th and take a look at this, because this is the play that you talked about when Jason White is abused.
It was the interception, big interception, and when they had it down there, it was a 14-7 game. He lands on it. You see it right there. Those things linger. Look, you know, we just watched Brett Favre play. That thumb has lingered all year.
What a great victory in overtime for the Packers on an interception. Second down, Randall Gay checks in as the nickel back. Jones comes through the motion for the Sooners. White back in that shotgun. The offensive line gives him time. He completes it in underneath. And we're always to the 41-yard line before there was Marquise Hill, that 6'7", 245, very active defensive end from New Orleans, jumped back on the play.
One of the things that LSU wants to do, and their defensive coordinator, Will Muschamp, wants to do, is take away the screen and draw game from Oklahoma. There's Will right there. He says they are great at screens and draws. We must force Jason White to throw the ball downfield, or we won't be able to sack him.
Third down and 3, back in a passing formation with 4 wide for the Sooners. Spread the field, deflected, incomplete. It is 4th down. The Sooners are forced to punt.
Deflected balls, they had 8 of them against Georgia. On the short passing game, they jumped. They're very tall at the defensive line position. That time it was Pittman, number 48, that got it.
Now, the #1 return man in the nation. Remember, Perkins had all the touchdown runs, but Ferguson matched up with him, drives it deep. They're going to see what he's got. Over his head and on into the end zone. It'll come out on the 20-yard line. That was Bradley, Mark Bradley, racing downfield on coverage. One of the Sooner wide receivers. LSU up by 7. We've got a timeout.
I gotta have that ADT trophy. Oh, man's got a trophy. I deserve that trophy. My trophy. I earned it.
You know Snoop got all the latest gear to go fly up under the radar.
That trophy is mine. It's mine.
Gotcha, Terry. Yo, Chief, here's Bob. Signed, sealed, and delivered. And I got a little something for you, too. Let's review. Got me, Terry.
Vote at NokiaUltimateBling.com for a chance to win 100 Gs.
Here in their natural habitat, a young male demonstrates his suitability as a provider by offering the female a substantial prize. Ah, he's impressed her.
Wrap your paws around Taco Bell's new 99-cent cheesy bean and rice burrito. It's a full half-pound and loaded with 3 cheeses, fiesta sauce, and a cheesy, zesty kick. Now 99 cents is tasty and filling. When you think outside the bun.
Hi, Tom. I know it's your first day, but we could really use your help.
You got it.
Thanks. We're just in a bit of a jam. All this has to get out today.
Yeah, I don't do shipping.
Oh, no. It's very easy. We use FedEx.com. Anybody can do it.
You don't understand. I have an MBA.
Oh, you have an MBA. In that case, I'll have to show you how to do it.
FedEx.com makes shipping so fast and easy, even an MBA can do it. Relax, it's FedEx.
This is something that this country is ready for.
The Soviets win. My goal is to beat them.
I want you to be a fireball hockey player!
Think that'll get them going? Oh, yeah.
This is your time.
You've got 10 seconds. The countdown going on right now. 5 seconds left in the game. You believe in miracles? Yes!
Miracle, rated PG, starts February 6th.
Tom Hanks
and Helen Hunt.
I'll be right back.
In the network premiere of Castaway, ABC Monday at 8, 7 Central.
A fierce 6 minutes unfolds here in the Louisiana Superdome. 9 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Tigers 7, Sooners nothing. LSU football coming out from their own 20-yard line. Matt Mauck, who was unable to play in last year's Cotton Bowl because of a foot injury, is now very healthy for this game here tonight. Moves up under center. And on first down, they elect to put it in the air, and his receiver slipped. Henderson slipped.
He slipped right on the painted portion of the artificial turf right there, Mark. Well, let's talk about what I think is going to happen. Controlling the line of scrimmage. Both coaches said the offensive lines and defensive lines must come through for their team to win it. So far, that LSU defensive line is controlling it. Nick Saban believes like the NFL believes. Third down is get the ball, keep the ball down. Let's see who wins that one. And defensive big plays. We've seen Derek Strait with one. We've seen the fumbled snap, and then we've seen the interception.
That was a third down touchdown. 3rd and 2, 24 yards. So there was your big play right there.
Third down.
2nd down and 10. Vincent battling for 2 or 3. Let's check in with Lynn Swan. Lynn?
Brent, Michael Clayton will tell you that his assets are catching the ball, great hands, but combined with his physical ability, makes him an unstoppable combination. Here he catches the contested pass, keeps the drive alive and the team going, and he sacrifices his abilities by making blocks unselfishly to help his teammates move down the field. That's the kind of player you want on your team. That's how you win championships.
And so, Gary, now on this 3rd down, we've got Michael Clayton poised.
Yeah, and I think it'll be very conservative by Nick Saban. His defense is controlling the game. He will not let Matt Mauck lose the ball game down here.
And Mauck decides to use still another timeout. Remember, he knows how to manage the game. And something was not right for him. And so he will use his 2nd timeout. I believe the clock was ticking down.
That's their 2nd timeout.
TGIF Friday is all new with a George Lopez shocker.
Don't hit Max.
You turned out all right.
My head is never supposed to be this big. This is all swelling.
Then it's their first fight on Married to the Kellys.
Once when Mary was mad at me, I wrote her a poem.
I read that poem. It's not gonna work.
And a Hope and Faith wedding goes downhill. Wait till you see how Faith plans to save it.
Oh my God.
Plus, an unsuspecting Bonnie fights for a friend.
It's pretend, right?
No, it's Life with Bonnie. Part of an all-new TGIF ABC Friday.
3rd down and long for LSU. And the man who is under the gun is right there. The new defensive coordinator, remember Mike Stoops, has just been a consultant for this game. He's become the head coach at Arizona.
Let me fix this right here. Get that co right there because Mike is now the coach at Arizona right there. He's got all alone now, baby. Nobody to share that 62-yard run against.
Now Malcolm Webster. Webster the center. You can see him identifying the defense.
3-man line for Oklahoma.
And they come on the blitz. Mauck stands tall, fires right side, incomplete. So the blitz helps force an incompletion. Skylar Green, the intended target, and Mauck picks himself up off the artificial turf.
3-man line. They bring 6 players. You see it. Someone comes free. It's Brandon Shelby, number 5. If you want a scout report on Brent Venables and the difference between he and Mike Stoops, Venables likes to blitz more.
Now here it's Perkins' turn. Antonio Perkins. We saw him light up UCLA with 3 punt return touchdowns in one game back at Norman. Donnie Jones, one of the best punters in the country, matched against him. Oklahoma worked long and hard on trying to block a punt. They got a pretty good look that time. He may come up with something later. And Perkins catching the ball collides with, I believe it was his own man. It was pushed back into him, and they will spot the ball right there at the 36-yard line. Gary, let's take a look at our Dodge defensive playbook.
Well, get used to this. This is what you're going to see all night. You're going to see Webster and Daniels up man-to-man on the great receivers from Oklahoma. Double moves, out and up. Will the discipline of the defensive backs and the LSU defense be able to handle the lob ball? Chuck Long believes that Jason White is one of the best deep ball throwers that he's ever seen. So far, though, he's been a little short on his deep throws.
First down, and they move White back centered, indicating that maybe they're going to try to run the ball. They do. They bring Clayton around in, jumps over one would-be defender, and he's close to the 50-yard line, and he has moved the chains, and there is their run coordinator, Kevin Wilson. A little bit under the gun, too, because of the offensive line's performance. Over the last 3 games, they've allowed a lot more sacks than they did earlier in the year. Now, Kevin says you have to run on this front, and by far, Chad Lavallee, number 93, he believes is their best defensive lineman. First down now at 48-yard line after the 12-yard run. Still in that eye. They come back with Jones. And something's cooking here, Mr. Danielson.
Well, that's exactly what I believe Oklahoma had to do all year. Establish and take some of the pressure off their quarterback. When Jason White has an average game, they lose. When he has just a little bit of a good game, they can lose. He has to almost play great towards the end of the season for Oklahoma to win. And against these great defense, it's very tough for a quarterback to carry it without a running game.
And again, they are back in that power eye. And again, they run Jones, twisting, turning, got another first down on it. Now, here is the Tostitos player comparison. I mentioned Lavallee, Gary, and there's another pretty good defensive lineman in this game.
Tommy Harris, you know, everybody's looking whether he will go pro. Chad Lavallee will obviously turn pro. He's been here, 24 years old. Tommy Harris, they're saying, is a top 5 pick in the NFL, but he does not make a lot of tackles. If you watch him, he causes a lot of disruption, but he doesn't let a lot of tackles. This guy, Lavallee, makes a lot of plays.
It is interesting that the OU coaches had moved White up under center, and now they back him out. Back again in that shotgun with 4 receivers. That's the tight end, Donnelly. Over there is a look. He picks up the blitzer. Great read. White goes down. Near sideline. Jones jumps. And incomplete. I believe he was out of bounds. There's a young man who's a fine baseball player. He's been a starting outfielder for 2 years for the Sooners. The New York Yankees drafted him but couldn't sign him back in 2001. He makes a nice catch here.
Travis Daniels pushes the receiver to the sideline. Look at no room to throw the football. A perfectly thrown ball and you're out of bounds. That's the technique. That's exactly what the defense is trying to do. And on that play, Brandon Jones got beat. Did not allow Jason White any room.
And that was the best throw of the night.
Absolutely.
For Jason White.
But he did serve notice. He's got that throw.
2nd and 10. Back under center. Clayton coming in formation. Basically a slot man. Penalty flag is thrown prior to the snap, and this is going to cost Oklahoma. Now, Nick Saban, we have told you, blitzkrieg, bump and run. He allowed us to mic him at practice in Baton Rouge. I want you all to take a listen to Coach Saban.
All right, now come back. Outside in. We didn't strike. We didn't strike. Nobody's locking out. We didn't strike the guy. You got to strike him first. You get your hands inside on him. All right, now lock this arm out and lock that arm out so you can steer him. See, when he got this arm down, then you're getting turned out.
He's a hands-on teacher. He's one of the best in the business. I can see why 3 or 4 NFL teams are interested, but he's very happy for the time being. White is back sidearm incomplete. They had brought in Dante Hickson. They told me, Cale Gundy, the running back coach, had told me that Dante Hickson is going to see some action here tonight because of his speed. They are so cognizant of how much speed Saban has on the defensive side of the ball that the changeup is going to be number 35, Dante Hickson.
Now 3rd and long is exactly where those defenses love to bring that zone blitz. They overload one side, and then they play a soft zone behind it.
Now, where will the pressure come from? You know it's coming from LSU. They're not going to rush 4. There'll be 5 and maybe 6. Here they come. White tries to find an open man. Incomplete, and the pressure was closing in from behind. And White, even though he wasn't sacked, he was down at midfield. He was knocked down on that play.
It was an all-out blitz, 3rd and long, and it was man-to-man coverage. They're manned up all over the field right here, and here it comes. Here it comes, Jason. Throw a hot. We think we can make a tackle, a free safety in the middle of the field just in case somebody gets a play, and you see it. That's that pressure defense, why we all like to retire when we're in the NFL after a while.
Now Lehman calling the blocking assignments. Ferguson to punt it. Green is back deep with that speed. Signals fair catch at the 12-yard line. We check in down below with Jackaroo.
Well, Brent, before the season started, Nick Saban pulled out a DVD and played it for his team. It's the story of Seabiscuit. He explained to his players that Seabiscuit was an unheralded thoroughbred. And he said he was a horse that didn't get any respect and was a champion. He said, we're going to play this season exactly like Seabiscuit.
That was such an enjoyable family movie, Jack. Enjoyed every minute of it. I think I'll go out to the fairgrounds tomorrow and see if I can find me a Seabiscuit.
Hey, Brent, though, he's got some studs that aren't Seabiscuits on his team, though. He's got some thoroughbreds.
Secretariat, maybe?
Yes, he
Justin
does.
Vincent, the freshman. Out to the right. And slammed down at the 16. Gayron Allen, the linebacker, moves in. Folks, we are capacity plus. I've done a lot of football games here. Never seen a bigger crowd. We've had big plays. Corey Webster with the interception for the Tigers. And then Green on the wide end around. And the sprinter on the 4x100-meter NCAA champion relay team takes it to the end zone for the touchdown. And it'll be second down and long. Now, Gary, you make such a good point about Matt Mock. What's your feeling about what he must do here tonight?
Just manage the game early. Don't lose the game before you have to. Just keep making first downs, hand the ball off, stay out of the bad plays. When the LSU coaches, we asked them, why are you running the ball better the second half of the year? They said, well, number one, our freshman backs are better. But number two, Matt Mock has gained some experience, and he gets us out of those bad plays. We used to call him, the coaches used to say, well, just dial it again. You know, that one didn't work. Well, Matt Mock gets him out of those dial it again plays. He gets him into the right play.
He'll be married later this year. Has the play from the sideline. Center is Webster. Offensive line's made only one mistake here tonight. Third down and 6 for the Tigers, and Mock straight back.
Whoa.
Intercepted by Everidge. There is a penalty flag. Everidge at the 20-yard line, but the penalty flag was thrown behind the defensive backfield that time, and Clayton's picking himself up.
Yeah, he got
off the ground right now.
I thought Clayton got held on the play. Yes. The ball would have been incomplete anyway, but again, you know, in these big games, no matter how much you practice, there's an anxiety factor. Everything that looks good in practice, you panic during the game and you grab a guy.
Bob Stoops is not happy by that call.
Let's see if it was
You
Clayton.
can see he is protesting vehemently on the sideline. I thought the flag came after the interception by Everidge. Let's listen to the Big East crew now.
Sideline warning against LSU. That is their first warning of the game.
Well, Bob Stoops is 4 years out on the
play?
field. And the warnings for Nick Saban, go figure.
How about the important play?
Yeah, we're not too concerned about that sideline warning on the far
Now,
side.
I think
right
we
now.
don't know if it was holding on Michael Clayton. They obviously don't give the number. They don't even give the penalty on this one. But the ball was thrown very high. I don't even know if it was catchable on top of that. And that's what Bob Stoops was upset with.
The holding call, not pass interference. That was a holding call, so that it moves the football out to the 27.
That's true.
And that makes it a first down automatically. So now Everidge slipping up close to the line. Ali Broussard, another of the talented freshmen, checks in on the draw to the middle. And another freshman running back, number 22, bolts up the middle.
Well, let's see if we can spot something. Here's the game where the ball is going to go to the deep safety. Mock steps back, doesn't like to make these mistakes. A little pressure. I don't know. The holding was on the tight end right there.
Shelby.
That's exactly right.
No
Shelby
was holding the tight end.
Yep, and that was a good call. That was a good call right there. You got to watch them all, and somebody's watching the tight end with the back judge, and he got it.
Second and 4 for Mock and the Tigers. So it's Ali Broussard's turn on the pitch. Wilkerson pulls. Nothing doing. Couldn't get that corner turn. The forecheck is over there. And Derek Strait, who's playing a whale of a football game. Strait caught Vincent on a breakaway on the first offensive play of the game. Recovered a fumble inside the 5-yard line. Now he makes the play on Broussard.
Well, let's see now if Nick Saban doesn't get into Jimbo Fisher, the offensive coordinator for LSU, and say, I don't want that ball thrown down the middle again. Let's run a quarterback draw or something safe and punt the ball. They haven't proved they can move it on us.
3:25 remaining in the opening quarter. 5 seconds left. The 25-second clock. Mock gets the snap in the gun. Drops it off to Green on a flanker screen, and it was read beautifully by Allen.
That's one of those plays where both sides say good play. Nick Saban felt that his team was a little dangerous throwing out of his own end zone. Bob Stoops' defense. Brett Venables recovered from the holding call, and they get the ball back and into the dangerous hands of Perkins.
Johnny Jones.
Look at these wide splits, Brent. Look at the size of these splits here for LSU. Look at that space between these guys.
Oklahoma was working long and hard on blocking a punt all week long. Up over the top comes Bradley. Jones gets it off. Perkins, fumble! Battle for the loose ball. And Oklahoma recovered it. The official right on top of that play.
There was an early call there.
Well, wait a minute. LSU was signaling they're going to come up with that football, but the officials are hanging tough.
Perkins kind of gambles on this play, but you got to make plays. It was right in his stomach right there. Very tough arena to catch punts in. High ceiling, bright lights, and Perkins drops the first one.
Jason White and the Sooners. The offense back on the field now. White has missed his last 4 passes. He'll be looking for something short. There's the H-back Runnels. He's been a very active blocker. Lead man Jones slices to the 41-yard line. Well, ABC Tuesday. Will Jim's plan to sell the house, get him into hot water? It's the first new Jim of the new year. ABC Tuesday, 9/8 Central.
Emerging story for Oklahoma on first down. Oklahoma and Chuck Long have run the ball 5 times and only thrown the ball twice. You can see they respect that pass rush and want to establish the running game.
And they are really giving Runnels a workout. Now they have the 3 wide receivers bunched, and they bring Wilson through the formation. They've stacked basically over on the left side. White's going to roll the pocket over there into difficulty. Throw it up for grabs. Out of bounds. Incomplete. The pressure was coming that time from Marquise Hill.
He's a big one. He's the emergence of the 2 defensive ends. Hill and Spears have really brought this defense. Before it was just Slavale inside. But this team, 8 different players on this defense have 3 or more sacks. Imagine that. 8 different players on the team. That's how they come from all angles. You know, it's not just all blitz here. On second down, they're giving them a lot of zone also.
Chuck Long told me that J.D. Runnels was going to be the key to this game. He's got to pick up the blitzers. 3rd and long. He's back in. He's the bodyguard to the left. He's looking for pressure. He's got one. Gave White time. Fired. First down at midfield. So J.D. Runnels, doing some of the little things, allows White to have enough time to hit Mark Clayton. What a fine block that was.
Sometimes when you blitz, you get a bad matchup, and that's what happened for LSU this time, and Jason White found it. You get Clayton on Jack Hunt. That's the safety right there. Jack Hunt cannot cover Mark Clayton. Watch him get turned around inside and outside, and there it is, an easy first down. Wonderful job by Jason White.
Illegal formation. Yeah. This is going to cost them 5 yards. They'll bring it back. It'll be first down and 15. Now, we have only 1:13 left in the opening quarter here, Gary. There's an emerging story. Oklahoma, the highest scoring team in the nation, has not scored in almost 4 quarters. Remember, they scored on their first series against Kansas State in Kansas City in the Big 12 championship game. They have not scored since then.
15 straight drives, 79 plays. It looked like one of my career highlights right there.
You were better than that.
Those are one of the ones where I put the backup. You start talking to the coach for a long time after one of those.
First time he's ever been self-effacing.
Well, you know, they tried a trick play, Oklahoma did that time. A quick huddle, quick snap, but they did not line up properly.
So here's your 1st and 15 after the 5-yard penalty. Runnels stays in a fullback position. They try to run behind him with Jones, and it was eaten alive that time by Travis Daniels. So the defensive back comes up and makes the play.
Corner blitz that time. They ran it right into the corner cat blitz. That is good coaching. You can tell this defense is inside the head of Oklahoma. There's Muschamp. Every time I saw him for the last, 3 weeks, he was watching tape, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. And he finally told us, he finally broke down, he said, look, if you rush 4 on Jason White, he'll complete 60% of his passes. If you rush 5 or 6, it drops down to 43. So guess what he had in mind? Who counts all that stuff? Second down. White is back, tries to drop it off, and Wilson juggling it on the dive was able to pull it in for a completion. But no, I think it's down. They'll be brought back down to the line of scrimmage. Minus 2 yards he lost on that play.
The Nokia Sugar Bowl. BCS Championship game.
Third down.
Third and long on that one, and I think that's a good job by Oklahoma and Jason White, just taking what's there, not trying to force the ball downfield and playing a little field position game. Looks like Oklahoma's defense has settled down a bit, so Jason White can make a first down and just punt the football. It's not the worst thing that could happen.
Blake Ferguson standing back at the 35-yard line. Booms it toward Green. Green will let it bounce over his head. Bradley's right there. This will be downed inside the 5-yard line. You know, Gary, when you look back at the brief history of the Bowl Championship Series, you found kind of an interesting theory about the winning quarterbacks in this game.
I really do. I really think it's the type of guy that's like a coach on the football team. Craig Krenzel, Josh Heupel. You know, the guys that can make decisions on the field. Matt Mock, even Jason White. You want a guy out there that doesn't really throw the ball 70 yards, but gets you out of the bad plays. Those are the guys that are making the plays.
Bad field position here for Nick Saban and the Tigers, and they must be careful. Protecting the football. Derek Strait in on the play defensively again. That knocked the veteran, the one-time minor league baseball player. He led Jasper High School to a state championship game before losing. He was Indiana's Mr. Baseball one year. That's when he elected to sign with the team that he always dreamed of playing for, the Chicago Cubs, but that didn't work out. He liked the team game a little bit better. He remembered that Nick Saban, a recruit in Michigan State, made the call, and here he is tossing now to Vincent. Vincent to the 3-yard line, and so it's quite a story here.
It really is. And when you put a quarterback together, you got to be a lot of different things, and Matt Mock is that. You mentioned a catcher. He's in charge of this football team, just like a great catcher on a baseball team. Very bright, pre-med major. He uses that. It spills over into the football game, and he is great with his feet. He hurt that ankle last year, had a lot of spring football when he wasn't 100%. But remember, he burst onto the scene in 2001 with an injury to the quarterback, and he was a runner in that football game. He hasn't run yet tonight.
Back in the shotgun in that noisy end zone, directly in front of a whole lot of fans. And nothing doing for Adai as Brandon Shelby leads the red shirts in on top of the LSU running back. And now in a battle of field position, Oklahoma has an opportunity.
Yeah, blitz again, right into the blitz. Could not get the bowling guard that time. Tackle Rodney Reed to the point of attack quick enough. And for the first time in 2 games, Brent, I've seen that swagger start to come back to this Oklahoma defense.
Perkins is standing at midfield. Jones near the end line. Booms it. But this should be great field position. Perkins down at the 35-yard line. So the best opportunity of the game coming up now for Oklahoma. They're down a touchdown, but they're within striking distance. Tested this time. Oklahoma at the 35-yard line. Let's see what they can come up with on first down. Nick Saban, like all outstanding defensive coaches, is a down and distance guy. He wants to win first and second down. He wants to keep them in third and long. Ronaldo works in as the running back. Remember now, White is under center. That has been a tip run so far here tonight. Play fake this time. White's in trouble, and he is sacked at the 44-yard line. That's why they put him in a shotgun when he throws the ball. Chuck Long saying he has more time to throw it. He couldn't pull out from center.
Yeah, Jason doesn't get back in the pocket. Well, he's not used to it. He hasn't practiced it. In this defense, Lionel Turner coming at it. Great speed, forcing the ball carrier back inside. The whole game plan has been attack the quarterback, and when he throws, get your hands up because he likes to throw short balls.
Will Muschamp, the defensive coordinator, as one of his players now is being tended to on the field. That's Melvin Oliver, the sophomore defensive lineman, shaken up. Jack, this is one of the best defenses we've seen this year, this LSU team.
Boy, Brent, they're very impressive, and maybe one of the reasons is because where they went and off to study. You know, all of these coaches, they like to exchange ideas in the off season. Well, Mike Stoops, the former defensive coordinator for Oklahoma, visited LSU to study their defense in 2001, and then Oklahoma returned the favor for Will Muschamp as he went down to Oklahoma in Norman and studied the defense in 2002. Bet you they won't be doing that anytime soon.
Well, there is Mike Stoops, now the head football coach at the University of Arizona. He's been attending the practices, helping out a little bit, but basically staying pretty much out of the way. His brother had moved over to coach the secondary, and there you see Brent Venables discussing it with head coach Bob Stoops. Bob used to be a defensive backfield coach, so that was nothing new, but it certainly did strain the time of the head coach. Now back in the shotgun, goes White on second down and 19. They throw a screen to Clayton, who has blazing speed, puts it down, goes after it, as Lavallee comes off the defensive front to make the play. Well, here's our Aflac trivia question. Oklahoma and LSU have met only once before, which is hard to believe, in the 1950 Sugar Bowl. And who was Oklahoma's quarterback that day back in 1950?
It appears that Oklahoma on third down is very, very leery of throwing deep downfield. They don't think they can hold up in the pass rush on Jason White.
So they need to try to hit something underneath. And the whistle prior to the snap thrown on the far side, and indicating a timeout being called by LSU. So that would exhaust their timeouts here in the first half. So we'll take a break. Yards the Sooners need on this play. White dances to the right on the move. Incomplete. And it's fourth down. So after inheriting field position at the 35 following the Perkins punt return, they now squander that advantage against this LSU defense, and Blake Ferguson trots onto the field. When you take a look at third downs for Oklahoma, they are 1 of 5 as Nick Saban continues to keep them in third and long here tonight.
Nice hold up by Tommy Lehman right there as the slot man over the gunner started to come from the right side of the screen.
Speed from the corner. Runnels has got him. Here's Green letting it go over his head, and Ferguson has dropped one inside the 10-yard line. Just inside it, there is a penalty flag. You can see it on your screen. Our referee, Dennis Hennigan, goes down to get it all sorted out in this game, in which Oklahoma has only 48 yards of offense against this LSU defense. They could do nothing with field position at the Tigers' 35-yard line.
I'll tell you, Brent, that last third down play, Travis Daniels took on Mark Clayton. You can see personal foul. They hit the Skylar Green in that play. But go back to that third down play. Watch this coverage by Travis Daniels. Started the year out as a safety, but when LaRon Lundy came on as a better player, it allowed Daniels to move back to corner. And here you see hitting the receiver. He didn't get the ball. That's going to be a penalty, an obvious penalty on Oklahoma.
And that was Brodney Poole, the defensive back, who was guilty.
Personal foul On the kicking team, 15-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage. Repeat 4th down.
Stoops wants an explanation.
This is very interesting. Because the play wasn't over and there was a personal foul during the play, they will repeat 4th down. So instead of tacking it on with LSU's ball right from there, since they never had possession of the ball, they're going to repeat it.
So they'll back Ferguson up again. And remember, the nation's #1 punt returner, number 5, Skylar Green, who has scored the touchdown tonight on an end around, will back it up. I remember the last championship game here in New Orleans. Peter Warwick standing right back there for Florida State against Virginia Tech, and Michael Vick fielded it and took it to the end zone for a touchdown that helped propel the Noles to a national championship. Ferguson, this one a little bit low. Green on the run. Dances, but not past Lehman. Man, what great coverage by a starting Will linebacker getting down the field. And remember, he was the up back in that formation. LSU ball. We come back.
Really try to do is realize that, you know, I might not be the biggest, the fastest guy, but, you know, we've got a lot of those guys in the team. So if I can get the ball to them and let them, do the hard work, we'll have success.
So he understands his role perfectly, manages this offense for LSU, has them ahead 7-0 here. Second quarter of the Nokia Sugar Bowl, this year's BCS Championship game. 2nd down and 8 for the Tigers. Green comes over to the right side of the formation. Play fake. Linebacker in hot pursuit. Mock, an excellent runner. And he is crushed before he can get back to the line of scrimmage that time. So we have had 1 touchdown and a whole lot of defense in this game so far. Only 48 total yards for Oklahoma and 117 for LSU. 64 of them for the Tigers came on their first play from scrimmage when Vincent bolted up the middle before Straight saved a touchdown with a tackle. But not before the Tigers had some excellent field position. Then they fumbled it back inside the 5-yard line, and it wasn't until Corey Webster intercepted a pass that the Tigers on 3rd and 2 were able to score on an end around. 3rd down. Clayton's off the line. Now can't get to him, and Nicholson forced him up into the pocket where there was more pressure. So number 8, Dante Nicholson, destroyed the play, and Rodney Poole cleans up on it.
Now both guys for LSU, the fullback and the tailback, both missed their blocks on the play. Can't do this. Watch this. 2 guys come, 2 guys whiff, and the quarterback has no chance. Inside, whiff, whiff. Boy, that's not good. There's nobody quick enough against him to get away from 2 guys. Except his name is Michael Vick when we were here last time.
I remember there's a new long snapper for LSU, Gant Petty. So far, he's been very accurate. They got it. There's the block punt recovered at the 2-yard line. 1st and goal all week long. Bob Stoops himself worked here in the Superdome with his punting team. He said we can get one. He continued to preach it. And now they've given themselves an opportunity to tie this football game.
It's Brandon Shelby. Look at those wide splits. Wide splits. Here it comes from this side. Brandon Shelby, number 5, is the guy who gets it. Clean run. Lays out. 2 guys could have got it, actually. Shelby's the one who gets it. And then it's Russell Dennison, number 36, who falls on it. And that's that big play again that Lynn talked about in the open. Might come on a punt return, but it's special teams that can usually turn a game.
Jones will be the running back. Runnels the lead blocker. They switch the power of the formation over to the left-hand side. On the toss, Jones for the end zone, battling, and he is stopped just short of it against this LSU defense. And it will be 2nd and goal as Lionel Turner out of Walker, Louisiana.
Well, that was the guy that really came on in this defense from the linebacker spot. LSU fans know, beginning of this year, they thought, can we replace Brady James? Lionel Turner was an outside linebacker. He shifted inside. They brought up Eric Alexander.
They want timeout on the Oklahoma sideline. Not sure they got the personnel they want. They do not get it signaled in time. They move the strength again to the left-hand side. Play fake. White fires for it, incomplete, and now it is 3rd and goal.
That's a great play. Corey Webster rips that ball out. I don't know if it was dropped before he hit it, but what discipline by that defense for LSU. They ran 2 guys out to the left side of the formation. They're covered, forces Jason to go backside, throws a strike, and Clayton should have caught that ball.
What a fierce goal line stand so far. In 2 plays, they have yielded only 1 yard against Oklahoma, the highest scoring team in the nation. Now they shift power over to the wide side. Runnels still the lead man. Here comes Jones powering straight ahead. Penalty flag is thrown. A penalty flag is thrown. Certainly no indication at any time of a touchdown.
Could have been 2 possibilities lined up in the neutral zone against LSU. Could be 1.
That's our indication. Half the distance, so they will lose about half a yard.
Yeah.
Now at this point, you really now wonder about Jason White being able to follow center Vince Carter into the end zone. Now against that is the fact that he has undergone major knee operations in the left and the right in each of the previous 2 years. They don't like to expose him in this situation, but he is so close right now that with Joseph on the right, Carter in the center, Chashawn in the left, they should be able to power in here. They hand it off. Touchdown. Jones crossed the plane. We are an extra point away from being tied in New Orleans.
It wasn't so much of the distance that the penalty caused, but the extra down gave Oklahoma an opportunity to run 1 more play, the 4th of the series, and even though it was 3rd down, that punt block gets Oklahoma's offense off the 9. Because defensively, Oklahoma has found their game.
Now Trey DiCarlo, who struggled during the pregame warmups, kicking field goals from about 40 yards out, is on to attempt the extra point. He has missed 2 extra points this year. Not this one. Now he has kicked 73 extra points. But it was all set up because of Bob Stoops' aggressive play on the special teams. His offense going nowhere here tonight against LSU. He desperately needed a special team or a defensive unit to make a play. They did. Jones took it to the end zone. We're tied. I tell you, 2 of the greatest groups of alumni for football, for college football, LSU and Oklahoma, and they have had a wonderful time here in New Orleans getting ready for this BCS Championship game. DiCarlo with the ball on the tee to kick it off. Henderson and Green are back deep to return. There's speed and more speed, and DiCarlo said, let me just take it on into the end zone, take a knee. Now remember our Aflac trivia question. In that 1950 Sugar Bowl, who was the winning Oklahoma quarterback? Well, let's go back and take a look. Here he is. You recognize him under center going on, and that's the legendary Darrell Royal, greatest coach in Texas Longhorn football history. Just a great player. Know him in Oklahoma. Hope the old coach is doing well and enjoying the game tonight. It's always great to see him when we go down Austin Way. See the Longhorns who lost a toughie there the other night to Washington State. They can't be too happy, and they've got to be amazed at this LSU defense. Remember, a year ago, Roy Williams and the Horns beat this LSU team in the Cotton Bowl. Play fake knock now. Rolls to the left. Throws past the tight end because he had a receiver open downfield, and Devery Henderson, who can run a 4.3 40, had all kinds of daylight down there for a 20-yard gain.
You called it exactly right. If Matt Mock doesn't complete that one, he might have to keep running because he had the tight end Eric Edwards wide open for a first down play. And when you pass up a sure completion to go downfield, you better hit it. Believe me, you better hit it. I like the moxie. They needed a big play. Had 114 yards going into that play, Brent. 64 of them on one play. They haven't moved anywhere since.
Now with a first down out at the 40. Play fake knock to Clayton. Close to the first down at midfield. And we remind you that Saturday, all the action and excitement of the National Hockey League returns to ABC. 3 wonderful regional matchups. You'll see the Avalanche of the Stars, Red Wings Bruins, and Rangers Islanders. The NHL on ABC Saturday at 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. And check your local listings for the hockey game in your area. Probably got a lot of fellows in the National Hockey League if they're not playing tonight watching this game. These guys in the National Hockey League are just great sport fans, no matter what the game is. They'll go out to a racetrack every now and then with you too, won't they? Here comes Knock, handing off. Good jump by Vincent, the freshman. What a beautiful run to the 36-yard line. A penalty flag is thrown at the 40. Clayton was there trying to open up a hole for him down there. He looked disgusted on the play, and it is against the offense.
I think it was on Michael Clayton, or he saw it right there, one of the two. But you know, that corner cat blitz from Derek Strait, and Vincent runs right through it, reminiscent of Derek Sproles. Remember Darren Sproles in that game? That was really the play of the game. Here's Strait. Watch him right in here. He kind of goes a shoe duster. He goes too low on the play, doesn't get the tackle, and there's the play. Very similar to that play when Sproles ran right through that tackle and changed the game for Kansas State.
.6:56 remaining here in the first half. John Saunders and the gang, of course, coming your way at
penalty was from the spot, so when they brought the ball back, it was still a first down.
Gary, that was one of the best runs past the line of scrimmage that I've seen in a long time.
He's got some talent. This is a guy.
He seems to get in a hole and then dance for daylight. You know, he's got that little scoot move between tackles. This is the first time we've seen him in the flesh. He's a dandy. Mount got to hurry now. They've had a little bit of clock trouble here.
No timeouts.
Clayton's got to get over the left side of the formation. Penalty flag didn't get it off, did he?
No, both receivers were moving on the play.
And the completion to the running back, Joseph Adai, and so it'll come back there.
Well, Nick Saban just going berserk on the sideline right now. These self-inflicted wounds. I mean, that's just line up in your proper spot. Two receivers shifted on the play just as the ball. Watch the top of your screen right here. Watch how they both shift at the same time. Oh, that don't work. You can only have one of those guys moving.
Thought it was back in Toronto.
Right.
That's going to have a load of Lynn Swan. Len?
Well, Brent, both these teams haven't played the game since December 6th. That's a month that they've been without playing a football game. You get into a big game like this, little things are off. Receivers aren't used to being contested. They have to take a little time to get up to game speed. The coaches are just having a problem trying to be so detailed about every play, getting it in, and that's the problem with the clock management tonight.
Oh, my friend Lynn, standing up for the receivers again. Second down, Mock keeps it, and he crosses the 45-yard line.
Funny how it didn't hurt USC's receivers.
No, they kind of broke
They seem to
free,
be able
didn't
to. Well, Lynn's old school.
What was it exactly that they did during a month off that these fellas haven't?
Well, they focused a little more on catching the ball.
I must tell you, folks, ladies and gentlemen, I know many of you, especially in Southern California, wondered, how did Lynn Swan handle it? He has been so elegant here in New Orleans and so gracious to both these teams. And the Nokia Sugar Bowl, folks, he's not claiming any national championship. He's not bragging about that great Trojan effort out there. So it is third down from the 45-yard line, and Mount underneath. First down, and then some as David Jones breaks a tackle and makes it to the 30-yard line.
Just slipping one guy out, two receivers come inside, and Matt Mock puts this ball exactly where you have to. Jones, big tight end fullback, right on that hip, catches it. Poor tackle in the secondary by Oklahoma, and he turns up and gets positive yards. You know, Mock is a gamer. You watch the guy in practice and you go, yeah, you know, all right, he looks pretty good. When he gets in the game, he's much more comfortable than he is in practice.
They're going to have Clayton throw it. He's going to go to the end zone. Receivers covered, and it's out of bounds anyway. It'll be second down and 10. Well, Bachelor Bob broke her heart, but look who's back. Meredith.
You sexy thing, you.
She's got 25 guys to choose from. The Bachelorette season premiere Wednesday, January 14th at 9/8 Central on ABC.
If Bob would have picked her, he'd still be hooked up, I think. That's who our the Danielson family all chose right there. Meredith was our winner.
Oh, good for you. I was watching an NBA game. It's okay. Second down and 10 at the 30-yard line. High formation look now, a little motion Henderson with that speed. They hand to Vincent. Vincent sprints inside the 25, the freshman to the 16, and he looks like he's going to be something, doesn't he?
He really is good. You know, I mean, this guy practiced 9 days in spring ball and defense. Nick Saban put him trying to find a spot. Started out the year 4th string, but watch him feel it. Freshman, he went through a spring practice, actually practiced with the team last year in the Cotton Bowl, sat out a year, but he has really built his way up and a good football player.
He's over 100 yards now for the 4th consecutive game.
Wow,
he has passed Dalton Hilliard's freshman rushing record, so he has put the new standard up for LSU. Here he comes again. Still on his feet. Touchdown, Vincent. Amazing performance. First, he breaks open the SEC title game with that 87-yarder, and now he bolts LSU ahead here with a splendid 18-yard touchdown run. Oh, my.
Watch him use the umpire to cut off the last would-be tackler. Sets him inside and then goes around, and you can't get there because you see the umpire and you run off him. What a brilliant run.
And the extra point is up and good. Ryan Goday makes it a 14-7 game. Well, Herschel Walker exploded in this setting at the Nokia Sugar Bowl. Could it be Vincent tonight? He's on his way. Are deer and rabbit hunting. There better be a quick rabbit to get away from that young'un right down there. Now, let me tell you, he doesn't need a gun. He just goes out there and runs him down.
They couldn't grab him either. Oklahoma missed a tackle up front, missed a tackle on the 2nd level, and he just ran into the end zone.
Jackson with the ball on the tee. And LSU ahead for the 2nd time here tonight. They have Mark Clayton on the field as a return man. Get the ball in his hands any way they can. And he is down at the 14-yard line. There's Brazil, another of the speedsters, coming down with that defensive unit. Man, if he can learn how to catch a football in traffic, he's going to be some dandy, folks. He's one of your 4-3 runners. Well, coming up on the BMW X3 halftime show, John, Terry, and Craig will break down the first half with former Oklahoma head coach Barry Switzer. Plus, we'll go live to Bourbon Street. Man, there were some times if you wanted to talk to Barry, you would go live to Bourbon
that's right. Jason White is 6 for 15 in this football game.
Ronald staying in with that H-back look that time. The inside handoff, trying to get the running game going. Jones battles his way out to the 19-yard line. You know, speaking of running backs, I must say this before we get too long into the night because I'll forget it.
Alert, everyone, alert. This is the Adrian Peterson alert.
Here it comes, ladies and gentlemen. You folks in Norman, you got a great running back headed your way. At least I hope he's as good as I've been told. But Adrian Peterson, he pulled that OU hat right out of that bag at that Army All-Star game yesterday. And he's coming out. I believe he can carry that ball about 15, 16 times a game for them. Here's Jones coming back. Nothing doing against this front. What a play by Marquise Hill.
Man, these two bookends, Marquise Hill and Marcus Spears. You got two guys like that. There's two different styles of defense. One is a one-gap defense up front where you ask your guys up here to just get upfield. Nick Saban doesn't let his defensive linemen go one gap. He says push, cover 2 gaps. That's the style they do. You got to have strength. You got to control your offensive linemen. That way you have more guys covering more gaps. That is what he teaches.
And they have yielded only 54 yards to Oklahoma in this game. The Sooners' lone touchdown set up by a blocked punt. White, good job of the offensive line until then. It broke down. He kept the ball too long. Good coverage, and Marquise Hill came free on him again with the sack.
Wes Sims is the guy who had Marquise Hill on that one. I thought it was decent. I thought it was decent protection that time. You got a blitz coming, 4 from one side, 2 from the other. Time. You can't hold the ball that long. This is a quarterback that isn't used to this type of pressure. It happened in the second half of the season.
Marquise Hill made all 3 tackles in that series. And now
series.
Fergus is backed up in the end zone for Oklahoma. And LSU would like to repay the favor if they can get in on this punt. They'll settle for some field position. and a return. Fair catch by Green at midfield. Well, John, Terry, and Craig, what have you got planned for us at halftime?
Well, coming up on the BMW X3 halftime report, we'll break it down. The crowd obviously in favor of LSU, and they've dominated.
Yes, they've dominated the line of scrimmage. If Oklahoma doesn't block a punt, they don't even this game.
And you know what? On that last play there, Oklahoma, they only get 3 people out in the route. I'll show you what LSU did on offense that last drive to get in the end zone. OU needs to make an adjustment.
Plus, we'll be joined by Oklahoma coaching legend Barry Switzer. Brent.
All right, John, make sure you show me that interception by the Packers. I haven't seen it yet. I was busy doing something up here. Mock is back. On the roll, receivers are covered, and so Mock changes direction, and he picks up 3 yards before he is down. So Mock, who was a sensational running quarterback in high school, and of course he suffered that foot injury. He had to rehab that foot. And then, as we told you the story, he selected baseball, Jack.
Well, Brent, so how did he end up with the LSU Tigers? We'll tell you after this play.
Second down, and Mock out of bounds. And, Jack, that was a pretty good phone call that Nick Saban accepted that day.
Yes, indeed it was. But Nick Saban got the phone call because he knew of Matt Mock, because Matt was playing in the minor league organization for the Lansing Lugnuts when Nick Saban was at Michigan State University. They hit up with a friendship. Nick says he used to go to a lot of the games, and he would watch. And then, when it was time, he decided that he would go and call Nick Saban, and Nick said, come on down to the Bayou.
And, Jack, during that, I think they decided that wasn't a catch over there on the far side, because they brought the ball on back to the line of scrimmage between the 47 and the 48-yard line, so it will be 3rd and 7.
Good lesson to all the coaches out there. Be nice to the guys you don't sign. They may come back. This looks like a blitz look here for
There are
OU.
4 wide receivers
Here they come.
for LSU. And they leave Undai alone. One of the blitzers changed his mind. Derek Strait going over, but again, we've got a penalty flag on the play.
That was, yeah, one of those offensive linemen grabbed one of the blitzers on that play, but that was very bad technique for Oklahoma that time. All-out blitz and let the remaining running back just clean go out that time. Someone is responsible to peel with that back.
Well, Jimbo Fisher now will reach into his bag of plays and see what he can come up with here on 3rd and long. LSU coming off its best series of the game, now having some self-inflicted difficulties against the Sooners. There is Jimbo in the LSU coach's box. Someday he too will become a head coach, but he's very, very comfortable working with Nick Saban, directing the offense. Obviously, Nick Saban is a hands-on defensive coach, and he pretty much leaves Jimbo away after they go over the base game plan. Now Mock is back, fires downfield. Clayton overthrowing, picked off at the 15-yard line. And Antonio Perkins is out of bounds after the interception. Not particularly a well-thrown ball that time.
But not a disaster. When you've had your last punt blocked and it's 3rd and very long, if you're going to throw the ball downfield, take a shot. If it gets intercepted, you tackle the guy. There's only 53 seconds left in the half. I think it's a good call by Jimbo Fisher.
So after the bench warning, now unsportsmanlike conduct is going to be called. Bob Stoops, Cale Gundy just took the headset off over there looking at the head coach, because obviously it has been called against them after the interception. And Lynn, did you have a good view of that?
I had a great view of it. One of the players on the bench just came onto the field and was yelling, probably berating one of the players from LSU on the field right in front of the official. And the flag just flew right out of his pocket.
Oh, then that's a good call if that's what happened down there. No question. I mean, you can't have that, right, Gary?
Bobby threw his headset down, and he must not have seen it as clear as Lynn, because right now he might be working for the next one. But with 53 seconds to go, this half is over.
So we're at the top of the hour. LSU and Oklahoma at the Nokia Sugar Bowl for the BCS National Championship. 7-point lead. LSU with some personnel problems, but now the 12th man clears the field in time. Here's Jones going nowhere. Stoned by Eric Alexander, the senior from Port Arthur, Texas. And coaches will tell you the most improved defensive player on their team is number 27.
One of the keys to this great defense was Alexander's move from safety, where he was a 4-year, actually a 3-year player trying to find the field. LSU fans know he was a terror on special teams, but you move an average safety up to linebacker, and he's a fast linebacker, and he's making plays all over the field.
How tough is it getting for OU's offense? Chris Chester, coming off many injuries, now checks in, and they're going to just run this clock out. They are content to go on into the locker room, trailing by 7 points. Lavallee and the defense did a great job as we check in with Jack.
Well, Coach, outside of just a couple of miscues and that one block punt, how do you rate it so far?
Well, you know, special teams play a big part in games like this, and they made a big play on it. Defense has played pretty well. I really like the last drive we had offensively, so hopefully we can develop more consistency there.
Let's go to the OU side and Lynn Swan.
Thank you, Jack. Coach, this offense that you're running has a tough time with this #1 defense in the country. How do you squeeze a little more productivity out of it?
I mean, the #1 scoring defense in the country, they are. We're the #1 total defense in the country. And the bottom line is turnovers penalties have hurt us, taking away 2 turnovers. Penalties have put us into long yardage. On top of that, bad tackling on defense. Outside of that, we got a heck of a game.
Coach, thank you.
Not a happy camper. Bob Stoops, to say the least. John Saunders and the gang coming up here with LSU leading Oklahoma 14-7.
Yep, here we get so. Everybody say it loud, all in together now. Yeah. The bling is mine. Yeah. The bling is mine. Who's #1? Who's #2? Is it Oklahoma? Or LSU? From the north to the south to the east to the west, everybody ready, down, set. Man, you always got to play your best. You never know what's gonna happen with the BCS. You got one loss and got tossed out the mix. You started off ranked 1, now you're #6. You can't play in this game if you ain't got tradition with your scheduling, man. A lot of teams mad. Well, that's so sad. Watching the game, sitting at the pad, talking to your staff about how it went bad. I could have made the block, man. I should have made the pass. Better luck next year. Yo, to my team, I mean, wish you could have been here. The coin's been flipped, the scene is set. The bling is the ultimate. Beautiful crown jewel for the #1 school. Once you get it, you did it, your team rules. There's only one like it. You can't fumble it or spike it. It's looking so good, I'm starting to like it. Got the whole world playing the game. This is a classic case of who done it, and I done it for the love of the game. You're loving my name, so go ahead and say it again.
In this football game. How about Oklahoma try a no huddle, try to take LSU out of their comfort zone, and on defense they got to start tackling. They've been missing tackles. LSU on offense, protect the football. They're moving it. Their defense is making plays, so don't give Oklahoma another short field. And defense, you got them. Just more of the same. You got the game plan, you got the athletes, more of the same.
Well, before we get the second half kickoff, let's check in with our fellows down below. Let's start with Jackaroo. Jack?
Well, Nick Saban let me into the locker room. It was a very NFL-type locker room. They hydrated. They get it very businesslike. And then Nick Saban addressed the team and said, look, forget about the scoreboard. I don't want to see any of you looking up. There's 30 minutes of football, and we've got this team where we want them to be. One thing Lynn Swanee did talk about is the center getting up quicker and snapping and getting his hands on the ball.
Jack, I talked to Chuck Long, and I asked him about the passing game and how you get it back on track. He indicated he felt the receiver and the quarterback were just too tight, and they have to play looser. But more importantly, Bob Stoops was livid as he left the field, and he stopped the official wanting to talk to him about the calls on the field. I don't know if that would backfire against him, Brent.
All right, Lynn, we'll wait and see how that storyline unfolds. And another kickoff into the end zone. And so Jason White will bring the offense out. And in the first half, we had several key plays unfold. For the Sooners, it was this block punt, which led to their only scoring drive of the game. And it took 4 snaps to get that touchdown. Jones finally battling into the end zone. There has been nothing easy against this LSU defense. They have yielded only 44 yards and 1 touchdown, which followed a blocked punt and a recovery inside the 5-yard line. So what a defense here tonight for LSU. Jason White back in the shotgun to open up the second half. Off to the fake. He'll keep the ball, and he is down at the 18-yard line. Marcus Spears, the junior from Baton Rouge, making the stop for the Tigers.
All right, come on now, Oklahoma. You can't, offensive line cannot hold up that long. You have to go out, throw the little short options. You have to attack them quickly. You don't have time to run these type of plays 15, 25 yards downfield. Establish the short passing game, hit the little options, and then maybe something else will open up.
Second down and 13 for our Heisman Trophy winner. Intercepted. And LSU has scored on the Marcus Spears interception, the second play of the second half, and suddenly the Sooners are down 2 touchdowns. That was reminiscent of what happened back in Kansas City against Kansas State.
Yeah, this time it was a defensive end. Marcus Spears, he was one of the highest recruited athletes in the South, a tremendous basketball player. He drops from the defensive end position and gets the pick.
O'Day tacks on the extra point. And Jason White back in the gun, didn't see him lurking there, was looking for Wilson on the cut, and Spears takes it to the end zone. What a defense.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Sierra Mist. Taste one shockingly refreshing lemon lime.
I gotta get me a dog like that.
Coming to DVD, the chief of police becomes the chief suspect.
They set me up.
You got something you want to tell me?
That's the guy. Where is the money?
Denzel Washington. Out of Time on DVD Tuesday.
Firewall. Like that could stop me. Once I got her account number, I couldn't spend fast enough. 64-inch plasma screen monitor, 10 4.2 megahertz wireless routers, and $20,000 to complete my robot. My girl robot. This is gonna be the best prom ever.
Introducing City Identity Theft Solutions. Free with any City card.
Sienna, at one time, he was the #1 rated tight end prospect in the United States, so you know he brings speed to that defensive end position. And LSU now has 7 defensive touchdowns this season.
And he balked at being moved to the defensive side of the ball. He played 1 whole year here at LSU at tight end, but I think Nick moved him to the right spot.
This one will be returned by Clayton. And a lateral to Bradley, and it is eaten up down at the 5-yard line. And White, Chad White, number 43, was not to be fooled on the trickery by the Sooners.
Boy, are they on their game. LSU is on top of their football game. A reverse, a pitch, you come running down on it, one linked one side, and then a head-up tackle on Bradley.
It's all uphill now for Jason White and the Sooner offense. Jason is only 6 of 16 throwing the ball. They keep Runnels in. They line up with a fullback directly in front of the running back in this formation. There's Jones, nothing doing against that defensive front. Let's go back to the interception, Gary.
You know, Jack told you what it was like in a NFL locker room at halftime, he said. But here's what it's like to play against an NFL pass defense. Because you got defensive linemen picking off passes. They didn't used to do that when I played. This is the new style of defense.
Gary wants to outlaw it.
Exactly. It's un-American. It really is. Every guy that anybody that ever played quarterback, write your congressman today.
Second down. They try to put it in Wilson's hands, and nothing doing against this savage defense. If things continue right now, Gary, and I think you would agree with me, LSU is playing for votes against USC with this defensive performance here tonight.
I don't want to write off Oklahoma yet in this football game. You said it the right way. If things continue. But, you know, Michigan got a little bit, USC got a bit of a walkover in that football game. Michigan just didn't play their game that day, and you're seeing a defense, I don't know, this is as good a defense as I've seen all year.
3rd and 9. Complete. Wilson breaks free, but only briefly to the 43-yard line as Jack Hunt, the safety there to help out with Webster. But it is a 33-yard gain. Wilson shaken up on the play. He might have to come to the sideline.
Middle read this time. Gets inside Randall Gay, the nickelback, and look at that throw. Jason White's best throw of the football game. Gets it inside, and Jason White, by the way, also came up limping after that play. Wilson with the shoulder, it looks like, and Jason with the knee, foot, hip, or something, because he was limping.
So Saban's defense dominating Clayton on the end around. But look how they hold their position and stretch that play out. But then with Clayton's great speed, he gets the first down and gets the corner turn, coming back on a one-man reverse.
This is a great answer from Oklahoma now. 3rd and long. Jason White hits the first down. Now on the reverse. The big players for Oklahoma. White hits the first down pass, and now Clayton against a perfectly defense sweep from the wide receiver. His great athletic ability gets something out of nothing. 15 yards on that play.
The ball at the 42-yard line. 1st and 10 for White and the Sooners.
This is what I'm looking for from Oklahoma. Do they have that heart of a champion? Can they pick it up in this game?
Jones and Peoples are the wideouts over to the right, and Jones comes through the formation to the left. So Webster backs off from the bump and run. They throw a screen to Jones on the other side, and it was read brilliantly by Lionel Turner. So, you know, we have talked to Nick Saban about a lot of things, including his defensive philosophy.
I think you win or lose every down on defense based on the next down and distance situation that you create, because the offense will become more predictable for you if you're in a positive down and distance situation defensively.
And he created a 2nd and 10 with that well-read screen pass that time. 4 receivers, the tight end coming in as an H-back, and an inside handoff to Jones, but Jones makes the most of it inside the 40-yard line before Melvin Oliver makes the stop for the Tigers.
When you talk to a lot of defensive coordinators around college football, they felt that the Achilles heel for Oklahoma was their offensive line was a finesse offensive line. A lot of teams felt they knew how to stop them, just didn't have the athletes to stop them. Now these last 2 games, Kansas State and now LSU have enough athletes to match up, and they're forcing that Oklahoma offensive line to come through. Kevin White has to call on his front guys to start making some plays.
Travis Wilson came off the field. He tried it on a play. Now he is back over on the sideline. White hits Donley. Donley is down close to the 30-yard line, but there is a flag.
I think it was delay of game.
Prior to the snap, delay game, offense, 5-yard penalty, remains third down.
Five-yard penalty.
Well, you know, we had Saban mic'd up at practice in Baton Rouge, and he's worth a listen all the time.
That's it, Jesse. That's it, Jesse. That's the way to keep your feet inside. We want them 5-yard gain, not 10. This ain't a rodeo, dog.
And, yeah, not a rodeo, dog. He broke in under Jerry Glanville. That's where he learned how to talk like that with the Houston Oilers. Later under Bill Belichick with the Cleveland Browns. White's in trouble. Had to throw that one away. And here comes the penalty flag. Yeah. Intentional grounding as he was in the arms of Turner again.
That was a blitz. Got outmanned. Give that one to the defensive coaching staff for LSU.
You are seeing one example after another of why Saban is such a hot prospect in the National Football League.
Oh, boy, Ronaldo works. That's who you have to block. When you're the only running back, you have to block the middle linebacker. That's a complete bust. I got to take back what I said, Brent. That is a complete bust by the running back for Oklahoma. He should have been blocked.
Now, that man right there, Nick Saban, he has the biggest... You can't really say wager, can you, with the NCAA? But anyway, if he wins this game, he gets $1 more than the highest salaried coach in college football. He has it in his contract. And guess who the highest salary is? On the other sideline at $2.5 million, Mr. Bob Stoops. And right now, Nick Saban is headed for a big, big payday. I talked to the powers down at Baton Rouge a couple of nights ago. They think that they have him almost inked to a long-term contract. They are not going to let the NFL have him without a fight. And Green did not fair catch it, so he's ripped down at the 11-yard line. So again, it is the special teams trying to hold Oklahoma in the football game. That was Will Peoples. Charles, Louisiana. Ball carrier that time, and a reminder now the college basketball season in full swing. And Big Monday on ESPN. 7 Eastern. Texas against Providence. Man, what's it like watching Dickie V in high definition? Ooh, that's got to be scary. Then at 9, it's Kansas, Colorado. Big Monday.
Yeah, you're right.
On ESPN.
Stereo already is scary.
Oh, yeah, baby. There's a play fake, and Mock in trouble. Harris was closing in, and he's still able to complete the pass as he hit Eric Edwards, his tight end that time, and Derek Strait makes the stop.
Yeah, another one of those situations now. And if I was Jimbo Fisher, offensive coordinator for LSU, I'd be very careful here right now. You got this game well in hand. Your defense is controlling. You don't want to make a critical mistake right now. Some type of draw, some type of quick screen, maybe a wide receiver screen. Nothing over the middle where you lose track of a linebacker or a defensive end.
And they have Joseph Adai, veteran running back. They'll slip him into the formation, just what you suggested, and they pick him up for the first down before Strait can bust him out of bounds at the 35-yard line. So there was no risk on that play. Right. They stayed out of the middle, and Mock was efficient for 13 yards.
Boy, I'll tell you, Matt Mock, I really love his delivery. No wasted motion, very quick, very much like a catcher. Just flicks it off his ear, just zips it right out there. Very impressive. He's 24 years old, like you've mentioned. Very comfortable. And you know that injury he had last spring? He looks more comfortable as a passer now. And I think that spring of not being able to scramble helped him.
It did, Gary. And they say that he stayed in the pocket down there in spring practice a lot, just because of what you say. Wanted to run the draw, and he slipped on the surface that time, and Harris was able to take him down at the 30-yard line. And there is Tommy Harris, who also faces the decision. So whether or not come back to Oklahoma, he'll announce his decision after the game. And there's a very good possibility that Tommy will move on because so many scouts like him. Anytime you get a defensive tackle with 4.67 speed,
right,
you've got to be impressed. Tommy, the recent winner of the Lombardi Trophy, they won so much hardware. They're going to have to build a new wing at the Hall of Fame in Norman for all of the awards that this defense and, of course, the Heisman Trophy that these Sooners have picked up. And right now, they'd like to play a little bit better against LSU. Mauch on the roll, takes off again. Crosses the 40, short of the first down. He is down at the 43-yard line and 11-yard run. But let me take you to the list of award winners. Jason, of course, you know. He also won the O'Brien, the AP Player of the Year. Teddy Lehman, the Butkus and the Bednarik. And Derek Strait. He won the Thorpe and the Nagurski. Harris, we just told you that. And Bob Stoops on one of the polls was a Coach of the Year. I think on another one, I think Nick Saban actually won the award too. So the Sooners cleaning up in the hardware, but not closing out the season on a strong note, at least so far, after being beaten 35-7 by K-State and now trailing LSU by 2 touchdowns. Here comes Skylar Green, first down, and Strait makes still another tackle for the defense. I am mentioning Derek Strait's name too often. I should be mentioning the defensive front. So let's talk about the LSU offensive line for a moment. Let's talk about Wilkerson. Made a bad mistake early in the game. He's been efficient ever since. Peterman and Livings are the guards alongside of him, and Reed and Whitworth are those tackles. Now, I looked up the penalties on these fellas. Whitworth only 6 this year. Livings only 4 this year. And Reed, the right tackle, he's a 3.9 student in accounting. This is a very good offensive line. And Mauch very adeptly stepped away from Heat that time to the 50, Gary.
That's really the play of the game for Matt Mauch right there in my mind. That's exactly what Jimbo Fisher and Nick Saban told us they really love about Mauch. He saves us. He doesn't make the dumb play. He knows he's got a great defense to play with. So on that play, when he's under pressure, he just doesn't lob it downfield. He goes up inside, and instead of having 1st and 10 or an interception or a sack way back there, he's got 2nd and 7. 2nd and 7 is manageable.
Pasha Jackson checks back in. 2nd down. Mauch zips it complete to Clayton. There's a first down inside the 35. What a job Matt Mauch is doing in this game. And, well, let's take a closer look at this young man.
My hometown is Jasper, Indiana. My favorite movie is Fletch. My favorite musical group would be U2. My favorite sports team would be the Chicago Cubs. They took a chance on me. It probably didn't work out, but it was great being a part of that organization.
Never had a chance to catch Mark Pryor. That's one of the things I asked him when I was visiting down in Baton Rouge. It is so ironic for me that the only national championship won by LSU some 40-some years ago, Billy Cannon was the star of that team, and he went on to become a dentist. And now Mauch is following in the same vein on a Vincent 1-yard run that time as we check in down below with Lynn Swan. Lynn?
Well, Brent, the ADT National Champion Trophy is right here. This crystal football has been around for 18 years, has always been associated with the coach's pole. Traveled just over 25,000 miles this year, and there's only one team that has 4 of these sitting in his trophy case already, and that would be the University of Miami. However, if the score holds, LSU is looking to add their 2nd national championship and a little crystal to their own palace.
You got the right man watching that trophy. Never saw him drop a ball when he got his 2 hands on it. Here comes Mauch now taking off the right side. This will be a 3rd down coming up. And again, it was Strait making the stop. And let's go down now to Jack.
Well, Brent, we watched the way this offense for LSU is operating, and it's the epitome of what Jimbo Fisher has explained to them. He says, we want you to play with poise. This is accept that the defense for Oklahoma is very good, and they're going to get you once in a while. He said, don't make a play to win the game. Just go out and play the game.
Here's the 3rd down.